really pleased to get that win. I think Penn State gives you defensive challenges that are tough for our team as we try to find out who we really are at different situations. First half was not a great first half. We had 8 turnovers. We took some questionable shots, and with their length, that bothered us. They really are good. They got a couple of really good individual defenders. You know, Jordan Poole's become a little bit of a marked man, and that way he drew Josh Reeves, which is he's going to see that stuff more and more. He's going to see a great defender. So really pleased to get the W. We scored 24 points because we had 8 turnovers. We had 3 assists, and that was their pressure and their length. I think what stood out to me, I personally, as we practiced the last 2 days, not knowing how much zone or whatever they place it, yeah, we haven't seen man in 2 days or 2 games. We haven't seen man in 3 weeks, right? We haven't seen it, and we've been off, or we've been getting ready for 2 zone teams, and as a result, it's just really hard to go back. And I use the baseball analogy, or I'll use a football analogy. It's like you played against a wishbone team, you played against a wishbone team, and you played against a wishbone team, and it's 3 weeks later. Okay, now we're going to go to our spread offense again. The timing's bad. And once we got through that, we scored 43 points in the second half, and that was more who we got to be.
Chris, you want to start us off?
Talk about Isaiah Liver's absence.
Yeah, so it was. He practiced the last 2 days. He asked out of an extra session on Tuesday because his back was a little sore. We worked on it. He practiced fine yesterday, but he woke up really sore today. He did 3 sessions. It's back spasms. We'll get an MRI tomorrow and see where he is. But it was a game time. He really tightened up as the day went on. But he was in therapy like for 3 hours. Yesterday, and I probably would have mentioned it anyhow, but it wasn't even a concern to me at our press conference.
You want to talk about your defense and how it kept you in it?
Yeah, I mean, when you do that, allowing that team 20 points, they're averaging 68. You know, that's quite a bit below their average, and they got a lot of weapons. And so that first half was really good, but both teams sort of felt each other out a little bit. With the length you see, both teams were more comfortable offensively. But the defense is going to win games for us. It is so far, because we've had some not terrific offensive nights, and I don't think today was a terrific one, but we've been able to win because of the defense.
The back left.
Coach, you've talked about how dangerous it is coming into Big Ten play for this team. The slow start tonight, did you maybe learn a lesson about this team tonight?
Well, yeah. I think it was just a slow first half. I wouldn't say it's like a start. I think both teams are feeling each other out. And we're not, and I know there's some great teams in the country that are blowing people out of the water. We've been able to do that on a couple occasions, but that generally isn't who we are. We're going to have to win. You don't blow teams out of the water with defense, right? It's a gradual process. While you feel out of offense, and then you're up by 2, then you're up by 6, then you're up by 8, then you're up by 16. So that's who we are. We're not going to be one of these teams that everybody's disappointed if we're not up at half. We just got to grind our way through. Yes, sir, Casey.
Hey, Jonathan. Just with Mike Watkins, Josh Reeves, and what overall impressed you about tonight's Penn State team?
Well, they got enough guys back from last year's team, just like that. They got 3 or 4 guys that played minutes last year back from a team that won the NIT without Mike Watkins. And you can see Watkins, that's the best that he's played. And he scored pretty well on Teskey. And so it is but Stevens is an elite player, right? Their young guys are really good, but they're young. Bolton's got a chance to be a tremendous player. And so they're really good players, and we had some really good players matched up with them. The freshman on Stevens, and Charles on Stevens, he touched the ball 44 times today. He took 18 shots, right? He scored 17 points. That's a pretty good job by a freshman. He shot 45%. Really pleased with Iggy's growth right now defensively.
On your right with Noah.
John Jordan said, I guess he's being denied the ball a little bit further out for most
Yep.
of the day, so that hadn't happened since high school. What did you see from their defense, and how much?
I saw one of those high school games. After he committed to us, he didn't score in the game. That really didn't make me go back and say, wow. But he's had those games where that's what happens in high school. People just shut you out. And so with Reeves on him, that's the challenge he's going to see right now. His success is going to merit that. If he really wants to be a player, it's not going to go away. So whether it was Hardaway, whether it was LeVert, anybody that up in that off-guard spot, right, we're going to see their best defender that they played on the perimeter. So he adjusted. I was really proud when he got 8. That I'm not sure how much we dialed him up. I think we put him in position, put the ball in his hands for him to get those 2 huge buckets, a runner and an in-between shot, all right, that we needed to get, to go back up 12 and get some breathing room.
We're here on your left with Aria.
John, AD kind of had a slow start tonight, but he ended up finishing with a double-double.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you see from him tonight?
Well, he was going to have to play 38 minutes when we got the news before the game that when Isaiah told the trainers he couldn't go. So he was going to have to do that. I saw a kid that continues to make big shots when we need to in the second half. And he's not having slow starts. He's letting the game come to him early. He's feeling things out. I think he's got the 3rd most shots on our team. He is really understanding you can do more by doing less sometimes, right? So you can't always read into those numbers. He was expending a lot of energy on Stevens, guarding him, who's one of the premier power forwards in the league, right? He was making extra plays. He was running our offense. I thought he had a terrific 40 minutes, 39 and a half minutes, or 39 minutes.
Stay right there with Jacob.
Yeah, John, what did Austin Davis give you, especially in those first?
In the first half, he was really good. John gets the quick foul, and of course, we don't want him to be out for the rest of the half, so generally we take a guy out and put him back in at 12, something like that, because it's a rest period anyhow, and Austin really did a good job. In the second half, I thought he had a big block, too, so he's getting there. I said, if Brownie continues to grow everybody, but Austin Davis, we've got to keep challenging him because he's got another gear to him, and he's trying to use it when he can, but that was big for him to come in and just give us a defensive presence against our big guys.
On your right with Andrew.
Coach, when you game plan with Isaiah in mind,
Yeah.
and then last
Yeah.
minute you learn, how challenging is that?
It's that sudden change that we have no choice but to embrace it and just look at it. And we just told the team, I don't know if you remember, but 3 years ago, this was the game where Karis LeVert broke his ankle in the Northwestern game, was out for the season. And we had to go in and play Penn State here, and we played really well. I made that analogy to him that the team didn't know either. And as a result, we had a plan with him that, it was loose because, again, we don't know how they're going to play us. And we're just going to have to be really good at that, being very flexible, and that's a great example of that flexibility.
And then the 3-point defense just being so
Yep.
important today,
Yeah.
I guess, limiting them.
Yeah, I don't like some of our 2-point percentage today, but making those, Dredd and Bolton were both shooting in the 40s from 3, and I don't think either one of them made a 3. I think they had a bank. They made one banked 3. So it's really important that we continue that trend and don't allow people to have good looks, and then make them take tougher 2s. I thought John was really good in the first half. In the second half, just lost a little bit of the bounce he needed against Watkins. He scored too easily, but John had a really good game, I thought.
Right in the middle with Derek.
John, Michigan forced 18 Penn State turnovers tonight. What was the big key in forcing those turnovers?
Yeah, I think that's how we got away from them. That was the way we were going to score points. And, their point guard was going to be terrific, right? He had a few. That's the way some days you got to score. If we're playing all this defense, you got to create defense, whether you're in possessions. You got to create offense out of your defense. Get a deflection here. Get into the gap here. Block a shot here. That's what we need to do. And then we got to run. I don't think we have seen how good we can be running. I think we're still learning that area, but we're much better than we were when we were running over in Spain or running earlier in the year. It was not the type of run that you're seeing now.
Back right corner with Nick.
Is it too early to say what Isaiah's status will be for Sunday?
Yeah, it is too early. Like I said, I had planned on him playing. There was nothing. I know I talked with when he was tight yesterday. I said make sure to get him, but my thought was with back spasms, he probably won't be at 100. Being a guy who's had back spasms, he probably won't be at 100%. But hopefully he can go because we just need the minutes there from that position.
And you mentioned flexibility, this team's ability to sort of not panic or maybe find a way.
Yeah.
Is that been pretty special?
Well, I hope it's still early, Nick. It is really still early. I know that you've been watching games for 2 months, and I'm saying it's too early. Well, it is. We're going to find out how good we are right in January. As we're on the road, we're home, we're playing really good teams. So, what was the question, Nick?
Flexibility of being able to find a way in
Yeah,
areas.
I mean, I hope that's always the trademark of our teams, that whether it's zone, whether it's man, whether there's guys injured, whether we're big, we're small, that we can move to the direction that the opponent, that gives the opponent issues and allows us to have success.
Down front with John.
This might be part of what you just said, but they make runs in each half.
Yep.
Your guys talked about the composure that's both preached and
Yeah.
demonstrated. Where are they now with holding
I
it
think
together?
we're getting bigger. There's a few guys that are going to be running sprints tomorrow because of that was a big thing in sellout crowd again. Got to have composure in this game. We want to play with so much emotion, so much passion, but you can't get emotionally drunk from it. You've got to stay in there. And yeah, I know that we're excited. They're probably excited about some matchups that we had. Okay, now I know he's a great defender. He's all defensive type of guy. I'm going to score on him, right? And we gotta make the right plays at the right time. That's what winning basketball looks like. So for the most part, we did it. But we've been talking about it now for 14 games, and we made similar mistakes that we made all 14 games. They got to pay for that because that's the only way they're going to get better now. You can't talk about it anymore. You got to make it happen.
Brendan?
When Jordan early on this season was working in ball screen situations and doing kind of this, the next step for him, what was the difference between then and now in terms of comfort level, in terms of him getting his own basket?
I think the big thing is just put him into those situations and give him volume in practice. You know, DeAndre does a great job with DeAndre Haynes, who had the scout today, did a wonderful job. Put him in those situations over and over again, get his eyes up. We got all these drills with people running around, giving him looks. It's like a video game that he's got to see who's open. And he's growing in it. This was Tim Hardaway's growth. This is the Karis LeVert growth. This is what this guy needs to be able to do because there's got to be, whether Iggy, whether somebody besides Xavier, right? One of those three, we're going to continue to grow their areas so that we can use the ball screen effectively from really 4 spots. And Jordan's really important because he's probably our #1 in-between guy that can pull up in between and shoot it, which is the way everybody's playing now with a catch guy or icing you, pushing down. You got to have that in-between game. He's probably got one of our best.
Was he deferring too much early on?
No, I don't think he was getting looks, or we weren't putting him in position enough. I think we were very conscious of finding out who we were, right? He had a good preseason. I wouldn't say it was an incredible preseason as far, off it, and we hadn't put him in enough, and he hadn't shown that his assist turnovers weren't great. And now they're gradually growing. So I don't know what he even was today. I think he had a few, right? Where was he? He was 4-0 the other day. What was he, 2-2? Right? 2-3. So he's got to grow in that area, but he does getting assists better than 0-3.
Chris, want to close this out?
Iggy's 3 from the corner. Can you just talk about how far he's come in such a short time to have the
Well,
confidence?
as you know, when he was this lights-out Lithuanian shooter from Toronto that we heard about, and we watched him play, and yeah, he was a good shooter, but I was comparing him to the other Lithuanian that I had, and he wasn't comparable, right? But as his game grew, he became so good at taking the ball to the basket that he stopped doing it. And now he's shooting the ball like I believe he can shoot it, like a shooter can, but he's got that great mix like Nick had of being able to shoot it and drive it. And now we're putting him in the ball screen. And 2 great feeds to Austin yesterday in practice. That really bodes well for him, for our team, and his future.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, thanks everybody.